Ladies and gentlemen, it's another great episode of The Cash Compound, and I'm Jay Dew here, coming to you, talking compound interest. I'm talking about compound interest for you here and now on The Cash Compound. What we're here to do is crack the code to cash flow, ladies and gentlemen, and I've had some epiphanies recently, because on this episode, I'm coming to you right after I went live on some of our social platforms, and it's really been changing the way we connect with people all around as we help them save their money and spend somebody else's. As many of you know, we've been using the platform TikTok. We put a lot of that information on our Instagram at The Cash Compound, but we're having a lot of fun with TikTok, and I kind of lead that in our office as we teach people what's really happening when we talk about the infinite banking concept. The infinite banking concept is not just infinite banking as used by many people across the airwaves and the socials and the medias. What are they doing is pirating what Nelson Nash came up with around the 1980 type period, when he had epiphanies about the way whole life insurance from mutual companies could be used to house capital and to deploy capital from. So he came up with that term, infinite banking concept, registered that trademark, and now lots of people are using infinite banking in lots of different ways, because of course you can deploy capital from many different avenues and places around the world. So what we're doing is we're trying to clear that up for people, help them understand what he was really meaning and why we believe that whole life insurance from mutual companies designed for cash right out of the gate is the most efficient way to use capital, is the most efficient way to have money work for you. So we always explain that in the 3-cup setup. And I've been doing a lot of that on TikTok these days. So I'd like to shout out right now to this concept as our word of the week. Compound interest, that's our word of the week right here, and the definition on Investopedia. Once again, for those of you who have heard us before, it's this. Compound interest is the interest on a loan or deposit that accrues on both the initial deposit and the principal accumulated interest from previous periods. So it's not just on initial deposits and principals, it's on the accumulated interest from beforehand. And that's really what is blowing people's mind. The reason we came up with the 3-cup setup is to help people differentiate the premium bucket, as we call, or the red cup, and the green cup, or the bucket that is cash value. When people talk about, and even when we say, borrow from your policy, take money from your policy, we are talking about borrowing cash value. Cash value is separate from your premium. The reason that your dollars keep growing and why you've heard and why you've been so intrigued about this concept is because all of your premium dollars, what we sometimes call deposits when we're talking about the banking function, they're still there if we're borrowing from a different cup. We wanted you to realize that and know that. So that's what we're helping people see. We're doing it visually, and I'm having so much fun. So right now it's late March 2022. And over the course of this past weekend, I've gone live about 4 or 5 times on TikTok, unannounced. And our current threshold of listeners and interests and even trolls out there on our one particular handle is right about 76,000 people. And when I go live, several hundred to 1,000 plus are looking at me from 1 second to 45 minutes, talk about these 3-cup setups. What's going on here? How do we use this? How do we compare it to other things? So I wanted to talk once again about uninterrupted compound interest. What's beautiful about this system is that when we are deploying and using capital at our discretion for any reason from cup 2, green cup, cash value, the reason we are still getting uninterrupted compound interest is because the interest is accruing on the principal, the original stuff, and the dividends and the compounding effect of all of the dollars we're putting into that monthly or annual premium. So that is really, really important for you to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, all of my premiums are still inside that premium accrual account that is letting me leverage from it, but it's leveraging money that I bought. Really, I bought that money from the insurance company because they've provided a guarantee death benefit. They've provided new guaranteed growth on that death benefit every time I put new premium in. So I'm borrowing against what I've put in that has bought me a death benefit. Hopefully you've got that. You got to put these cups in front of your mind, or you got to jump on TikTok with your kids and grandkids out here so you can see what we're doing. Remember that you can catch us on our YouTube channel with visuals there. We've got a course that we're handing out to folks so they can get started with this process. And really, it's a process of learning. The infinite banking concept is not a product. We are using a specific product, no doubt. We are using it for capital and cash, but it's not a product. The concept is a concept, ladies and gents. So you got to think. Nelson Nash has a great quote. I'm going to try to hit it here for the quote of the week. How about that? Nelson Nash, of course, was the founder of the infinite banking concept. I just mentioned him, and he's got a quote when it comes to what the infinite banking concept is. Okay? The infinite banking concept is a stretch and useful way to think about money and deploying it. And that quote is, the infinite banking concept is an exercise in imagination, reason, logic, and prophecy. Okay? So this is not a product in and of itself. We're using a product. We got to use a product. That's why I said earlier, infinite banking can actually be done from several different products, but you got to think the infinite banking concept, as coined and termed by him, is an exercise in your thinking. Think about that for a second. It's an exercise in your thinking. And so often when we're live on these social platforms, the trolls come out and they try to stump me with, hey, this is a scam. Well, first off, these same people are using insurance in a lot of other areas of their life. So I'm not sure which part they think is a scam, but I can guess because I get the same things all the time. But we're using insurance. We're using it in a way that's not traditional. Most people don't think about it. So we're using it in a new way for them. But also, it's guaranteed. We're using whole life insurance. So it has to pay out. There is a death benefit. It's guaranteed. It's in a contract. So where in the world is the scam? Literally, where is the scam? The scam probably comes into their mind and imagination because of false pretenses, things they think are going on, or other things that they've been told that are not true, or they're not dealing with this particular product. There are many other insurance products out there. So get a lot of questions about other insurance products, like IULs, for instance. That's the most popular, and that's what many, many insurance professionals are toting out there as the same thing, or it accomplishes same or similar goals, or returns or guarantees are bigger. First off, there are no guarantees. The more you have the policy, the longer you hold it, the less guarantee there is. And many, many policies, depending on your age, guarantees go away. They actually go completely away, maybe around the time you're 70, 80 years old. So it's definitely not those things that we're using and deploying from, because we have guarantees forever that are always compounding, compound interest, and that which is interrupted, because we are able to use those dollars from that cash value where ours still grows. So that quote of the week, the infinite banking concept, is an exercise in imagination. We've got to be thinking right. And if we're not even using the right product, if we're not using the product the right way, we're not going to have we're going to have to really exercise that imagination, because lots of people don't know what we're using and how we can use that, and what is real, what is guaranteed, what's always going to happen, and what that means we can do. But we need to think about reason, logic, and prophecy as well, because we're talking about future potential here. We're talking about deploying money in the future for opportunities. We don't all know what those future opportunities are yet. So we are going to have to think about the freedom, the ability, the control that comes along with this for future opportunities that are currently unknown. Think about that for a second. How much is that going to be worth for you to be ready for an opportunity that you don't know exists yet? That is powerful. And so far in my life, there have been a lot of opportunities that are unknown, namely 99% of them. They're completely unknown. I just need to be ready for them because I'm using available cash value while my money is safe and sound and locked up. Okay, there it is. Now we'll move on to my favorite. I just got off the call with somebody who I'd like to name as our fan follow of the week. This week we got my man named Steven. Steven is in the upstate of South Carolina. He actually lives just up the road from where we deploy our information from and where we live, breathe, and do our work. So Steven is in, I don't know if he follows us exactly where he follows us because I just got off the phone with him, but Steven is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And he is just off the phone with me talking about, got to get this started, went through our crash course. Hopefully you've done that as well. Make sure you click the links, get into our courses, and follow, subscribe there, subscribe on our YouTube, watch us if that's the way you take in information. Steven was obviously doing some of that, and he says one of his questions and thoughts for me was, hey, I'm 60 years old. I know I could have and should have started this earlier if I had the right information, but is this viable for me now? And that's the second time I've answered that specific question this week. So Steven and everybody else out there who is in any type of age level where they wonder, is this viable for me at this age? Maybe I'm 50, 60, 70 years old. Well, first off, if you can save your money and spend theirs, I'm sure that age is not the factor. Second, think about this. No matter how old you are, wouldn't you like your money to continually be becoming more efficient and growing and compounding? That's not based on your age. Now, we are talking about insurance, so many people are coming from that standpoint. So let's address that, and let's realize that your age and or health, those things are factors when we're doing the infinite banking process. 100%. So we've got to be conscious of that, but you don't have to be the body, okay? The body, once again, might be a family member, might be a child in Steven's case, where he's considering using a different body, different age, different health. He has grown children to be able to get a policy on, deploy the capital from. That is all fine. Maybe his health is not where it needs to be, or your health is not where you want it, or heck, where you expect it to be once you get through this P90X or 75 hard or whatever you're doing. So your health can change, and that can help you qualify for a policy if you don't qualify at all. But we're going to deploy the capital from our greatest asset, and that is a policy written on our body. The greatest asset is us. That it really is. It's you. It's me. And that's what we want to protect. That's what we want to deploy from. And wow, we have got a great vehicle for that. Thanks to Nelson Nash breaking it down for us. So thank you, Steven, for the follow and the call. Enjoyed talking to you. Look forward to working with you soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap things a little bit shorter today. Just wanted to make sure that you're thinking about uninterrupted compound interest. So as we leave, let's think about the things where you deploy money from already, and let's wonder and ask ourselves again, is it the most efficient way to deploy capital? So, number one, we have a guaranteed asset in whole life insurance. So when you think about your accounts where you store money and deploy capital from, we're talking retirement plans. We're talking qualified plans of any type. There's a bunch because there's qualified plans for education and other things like that. Number one, is it a guaranteed product? Is it a private asset? Let's think about that as well. A private asset. You may have some private assets in terms of things like investment portfolio things, maybe real estate things, but are those things guaranteed? So now we've got guaranteed and we've got private. Okay, we've got liquid. That's another one to think about. Some of us have money wrapped up in things that are not liquid, like our qualified plans or like maybe some long-term holds in several different asset categories when it comes to investing. We're putting all of these things together so far, okay? Think about the principle being protected. You're not going to lose your dollars. Your dollars are compounding. So let's add that in right here. Is the asset appreciating, but is your investment compounding? Think about this when you're considering placing your money in other places. Your money lives somewhere, everybody. It really does. but is it really being able to be liquid, be accessible, be safe, be growing? And once again, we are talking about your money being deployed from this place, not this end all being the thing. This is the foundation from which we deploy the capital from. I wanted you to think about that as we talked about uninterrupted compounding interest this week on the Cash Compound. We appreciate you listening to our podcast. We want to talk to you. We want you to talk to us. Reach out to us. We have several qualified dudes who are ready to speak with you. One or two ladies out there who'll get you started as well in the process of getting your application going and the timeline that it takes to qualify you, the body, the person, the asset for this great tool to deploy your capital from. Let's just make sure that we're saving our money while spending theirs. That is the key of cracking the code to cash flow.